Okay, good to go. Okay, what am I eating for dinner? For anyone wondering, I'm eating Mom's dal chawal that I was actually supposed to eat for lunch, but I didn't because I wanted to eat something else for lunch, so I ate that for lunch, and I just brought this home, and now I'm eating it for dinner. Nice little dal chawal. For anyone who knows what dal chawal is, it's basically lentils. I guess like lentil soup. It's lentil soup, and then you just mix it with rice. I got some all dressed chippies. I don't know if you guys are getting the ASMR out of this. Hold up, let me give you some ASMR. This is now an ASMR stream, guys. This is now an ASMR stream. Welcome. Let me put that thing back and let me put this mic away from my face. All right. What is going on the stream now? For those of you who are just tuning in, if you're wondering what we're doing, we're going to be reacting to a video about RSI indicators. We saw a video yesterday about RSI indicators. We were reacting to that. That video is posted on our stream if you haven't watched it already, on our YouTube channel. Sorry, if you haven't watched that already, go watch it. But this is actually part one of that video, and this video is the more in-depth video. It talks about how to actually use the RSI indicator, whereas the one we saw yesterday was a trade example. The trade example was good. It was really effective for me and really quick way to understand of what they were teaching, because I am a little bit more higher advanced level than most people who are kind of just getting into trading. But if you are getting into trading and you kind of want to understand what that video from yesterday was kind of talking about, this one goes more in depth about it. So we're going to learn together, understand about it, talk about it, watch it. And obviously the channel, once again, the Bible, the one and only SMB Capital, ladies and gentlemen. Let's watch it.
RSI, Relative Strength Index, is one of the most popular indicators, but if you're simply using it to spot overbought conditions to get short and oversold conditions to buy, you're doing it all wrong. In this video, we share the top 3 ways the pros use RSI, and they're likely not what you think. I'm Mike Bellafiore, and we're one of the top proprietary trading firms located in New York City and proud to develop number 7 and even 8-figure per year traders. Watch, take notes, and learn so you can use this powerful indicator like the pros do.
RSI is one of the top indicators discussed on the desk, probably one of the top 5. You know, traders use it. It's on every platform. There are a lot of books just about that. You know, it's been commonly used for years.
But it's so commonly misunderstood. So today, Jeff and I want to talk
guy looks
about
very excited.
what this thing actually measures.
I like Garrett.
And how we can use it to make good trades. The RSI indicator measures strength. After all, it's called the Relative Strength Index. And this indicator is a momentum oscillator. It measures the speed and change of price over a set number of bars, and it oscillates between 0 and 100. Many people use it to spot overbought or oversold conditions, and I think this is probably the most common use of the RSI. And this is where most traders go wrong right off the bat. And we'll talk about this because it can be used in this way, but we have to be careful to use it correctly. And we'll outline a couple intraday overextension setups using the RSI in this way. And there are also other less common, but just as powerful ways to use it. We'll cover those too, including my favorite way to use the RSI, which is probably not what you think.
RSI can be used for any type of trading, right? You could use it for intraday scalps. You could use it for swing trading. You could use it for trend trading, intraday trend trading, and both higher time frame daily trend trading if you wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All time frames. So let's quickly review how the RSI measures momentum. Okay, so we've got a chart. It's a daily chart of the SPY right here with the RSI on the bottom that you can see. This is the indicator with default settings.
But right now they're introducing
and
what an RSI
the
is
RSI
for some of
calculates
you who
the
don't know
average
already.
gain and average loss over
We
a
can
given
kind of
number
skip
of
through this
bars.
already.
And it then
but-
computes the ratio of these gains to losses and normalizes this ratio on a scale between 0 and 100. And you can see that scale and the oscillation on the chart. The default period is 14 bars.
Okay.
And most traders use 70 and 30 on either end to mark overbought or oversold conditions. And you
I
can
like
see that right in
80-20.
the chart as well. Most traders use this indicator for mean reversion strategies, those overbought, oversold signals.
Yep.
And this leads us to our first example. In using the RSI in this way, this is where traders go wrong. And the thing to really key in on is just because the RSI is overbought or oversold does not mean that the market needs to reverse.
But you'll hear this a lot. People will say that exact same phrase. Just because it's overbought or oversold doesn't mean it can't get more overbought or more oversold. That's very nice statement to say, but that gives us no value whatsoever. So help us understand a little bit more about what you're talking about specifically.
Yeah, so we can gain value
Damn.
from those signals, but
Bro,
they're not
laying
gonna
down the
work by
hammer.
okay.
Bro, laying down
This
the
right here
Thor's
is an hourly
hammer.
chart of the Qs, and you can immediately see that stocks can remain overbought or oversold for a long period of time, and we can't blindly fade these signals. So, there's 5 signals on this chart. It worked 1 out of 5 times, so that it did catch that low there. But I mean, I'm not trying to trade something where I have to lose, 4 times to get a winner. Obviously you get completely run over in the recent move that the market made, and this is a current chart. So we've been going higher for a few weeks.
Now I'm going to leave the video running
you do
because
not
this is
wanna be
actually a
shorting
part that I don't need to pay too much attention to. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab some water.
What adjustments can we make then to make it a little easier for us?
Yeah, so there are a few technical things we can do. So we like to use 80 and 20 instead of 70 and 30. Simple thing. It just makes it a little bit more special when you get those signals. You're going to get less of them and they're going to be more meaningful. So here's an hourly chart on the Qs. Same chart, changing it to 80-20, and you can see we got 2 overbought signals and no other signals. And of course, those overbought signals, again,
Hey, did they change it to 80-20 while I was gone?
But we did
Okay.
remove a lot of the signals, including, of course, the only one that worked. But that's okay, because I want to be very selective here, right? We're still going to get run over a few times, so this doesn't complete the picture, but we're getting closer to making this indicator more meaningful. And by the way, there are 2 really great RSI setups on this chart right now that we will go over at the end of the video, but that's in another section. So how do we avoid these false signals? And this
That's
is really
a good point. How do we avoid it?
RSI actually become a tool that's functional?
Bottle
versus
just
just a
squirted on
guide
me,
that
dude.
tells us something?
Hell?
Yeah, so what I like to do, and again, we're talking about mean reversion right now. We're talking about overbought, oversold signals. It's got to be overdone on multiple time frames.
Right.
Like, to me, that's like the golden ticket to using this indicator, because if it's just one time frame, it can easily do what we're seeing right here.
Mm-hmm.
The odds really start to stack in our favor if we're checking multiple time frames and if we get this signal on the higher time frame. So if you're trading on a 15-minute chart and you check the hourly, if you're getting the same signal, that's going to really stack the odds in your favor.
Okay.
So if I'm trading on a 1 minute, maybe I'll look at the 5 minute as well. If I'm trading on a 5 minute, maybe I'll look at the 15 minute as confirmation. If I'm on a 15 minute, maybe I'll look at an hourly. If I'm in an hourly, maybe I'll look at a daily. If I'm on a daily, maybe I'll look at a weekly. Are those kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, 100%. So we were just on the hourly chart, and let's flip to a daily chart. And this is the same chart, and now we see no overbought signals, right? So if we're trading that hourly and we get those overbought signals that we're getting run over,
The way
you
that
gotta
guy
check the
talks
daily,
reminds me
right?
of
And the daily is
Greg,
not
dude.
even
That's
close.
crazy.
So that just negates
Not the guy talking, but
If
the
we're
other
just
guy
gonna be
asking
really
the questions.
systematic.
He's the head of the coaching.
So we don't want to take.
He's
the
head of
same
coaching,
mentality
and
chart. So
he is
we've removed
also
false
coming out with
signals.
the
And
new
look,
podcast
any
soon with
indicator
the
is gonna
Humble
give false
Trader.
signals
I'm excited for
sometimes.
that one with
we
Mike
just want to create a
Bellafiore and the
process
other
where
guy
the
in this
odds are in
video.
our favor if we're using this, and obviously we're combining it with other things, but it's a tool. And again, it's a tool to help us visualize. It's a tool to give us rules, and it's a tool, if we actually want to build an algorithm, we can use to define these things. Like,
And there's a big thing on our desk of if you put something on your chart, you have to understand what it is. You have to understand how it's calculated if it's an indicator. And then most importantly, you have to understand the ways in which it can be a benefit to your trading.
Right.
So even looking at one higher time frame to get a perspective can benefit your trading immediately.
yeah, absolutely. So now that we've created a process to raise the quality of these signals, how can we use this to spot some great trades? So let's dive into some examples and let's look at an intraday trade. This is CDIO not too long ago.
Okay.
Overbought on multiple time frames. That's what this setup is, right? So we're going to give you an example of how this looks. Okay, so we're trading a runner. It makes a parabolic move off the open. We can see that in the chart. This looks like a short opportunity for a playback to VWAP, right? That's a real play the traders on our desk make.
Play back to
So
VWAP.
just looking at the candles, I mean, this is getting parabolic. So we're going to want to consider this, right? If this is in our playbook, right? So how can we start to quantify this using the RSI? So we want to look at the next higher time frame, right? So Jeff was just talking about, if you're trading off of the 1 minute, go to the 5 minute. So we do that here, and we're not getting that signal on the 5 minute. So if we're going to be systematic about it, wait, it's not confirming yet. We don't look for a short yet. Okay, so we keep watching the 1 minute. It pulls back, holds. Actually, a great momentum long setup there, and it starts to get overbought again.
We'll cover that. We'll cover the momentum long a little bit later. But this is exactly what you were talking about. I saw the potential of the short on the 1 minute, but then when you check the 5 minute, it's not there. It doesn't give you that confirmation.
Right.
And so you just wait. Okay.
Yep. So now we're getting it again on the 1 minute. So go back to the 5 minute, check the 5 minute. Now we're getting the signal on the 5 minute.
Okay.
So now the odds are nothing works 100% in trading, but now the odds are much more in our favor than they were before, and that's what it's all
And may
about.
the odds
So
forever be in your favor. Shout out to Hunger Games. Shout out to Katniss Everdeen.
Let's just go one step further and check the 15-minute chart. Just might as well.
Might as well.
Lo and behold, we have a signal there too. So this is actually looking pretty
The
good.
trifecta.
But what do we do to trade this?
A
All right,
trifecta.
So we would have to go back and that's great, but do we just short it because it's there, or is there another indicator or some price action we could layer on?
Yeah, so if you've watched any of Lance's videos, he talks all the time about the right side of the V. That's the term he uses, the right side of the V. And in any kind of overextension play, like this is exactly the approach we want to take. And like if you haven't seen these videos, like go back and watch Lance's videos.
Yep.
They're really great.
Lance, the one.
We want to wait for the turn.
Lance.
Like that's the whole point. So just
That's his
because
Twitter
it's
for
overbought,
anyone
again,
wondering.
even on multiple time frames, we need a signal. We need some way of identifying that this thing's turning, right? And we're gonna do things like watch the tape and watch the chart for this. So how can we quantify this for these specific setups? And
This is one of my favorite, and this is actually a double bar break. When you're doing a 1 minute chart, you can look more for
The double bar break, yeah.
and a single bar break. But you can take for most charts, you'll be looking for a close below the prior bar low. So, when you're trading the 1 minute, you a lot of times will be looking for a double bar break. And that tends to confirm the right side of the V a little bit more. So
I like that.
if you have that combination
I like
of
that.
overbought above 80 on the RSI in this case on multiple time frames, one lower and one higher time frame, then you get the double bar break. Or if you're trading on a
I
higher
usually
time
the
frame
two
only,
two
so
minute
you're
bar
trading 5
break,
minute,
but yeah, this
a
is also
single
another way to get in.
candle takes
Signal.
out the low of the prior candle.
Single
Now, you don't
candle
wait for
takes
the
out the
close,
low of the
right?
prior
If
candle.
it just takes out the low,
yeah,
you
no,
can
I'm
take
watching the tape right there, and I just want to hit it.
That's exactly right. That's something that a lot of people are like, do you wait for the close? No, we wait for it to just clear the low of that because we already have the setup. Now we're executing the trade.
Yep. And to couple with that price action that Jeff is describing, right? Waiting for that break of the prior bar low, right? Because it's single time framing all the way up. That break has not happened yet. So that actually makes this setup better because that really means that something has changed. But we can also couple this with a signal in the RSI. So if we do this and also look for the RSI to return back to normal, right? So you see that overbought. it on the next bar close, it returns back inside and it's not overbought anymore. We don't have to wait for that, but that could be some confirmation. Like you can add on that, right? Or
Right.
if you're not getting that and price is holding, like that might be a reason to get out. Because usually when that happens, that's like how I know I'm right.
Okay.
So with a stop above the candle high or you know, above the whole move high, if you really want to be more conservative about it. So we target VWAP on a play like this. And we also, in terms of the RSI, we can target the RSI midline. So here's the chart kind of extended out into the day, and you can see what happened. We short that break. It comes in, and we're kind of looking at VWAP because, you know, it could go lower, but I like to target VWAP because so
Kind of
many
like what
these
I
you just
tried to
don't
do
know
with
once it
Google
starts
today.
reverting to the mean like that. Like that is the mean for the day. That's a good move. So, you know, we get the midline touch on that first blue circle where you can take some profits because that's the RSI
Midpoint.
reverting to the mean.
Yeah, midpoint.
And then when it hits VWAP, you can take some more because that's price reverting.
Makes sense.
Does that make sense, Joe?
It does.
Okay. So let's
You just stole my rubber band trade, but that's okay.
yeah. let's look at another one real quick. A
Guy's a hater.
downside extension play, just to show that it can work
Guy's a
in
hater.
the other direction. So this is EJH. This happened
And
actually.
this is going to be something that I want to make sure we're making a very clear point here is if you have RSI in your chart, you are not predicting that this is going to occur on multiple time frames.
Right.
We're not sitting there and going, oh, I really hope it gets to oversold.
Right.
What we're doing is we're observing the price action. And as it gets to that oversold level, that 20 level in this case, and it gets below that 20 level, then we're focusing in. We're honing in and we're looking to check that higher time frame as well. Or
Gotcha.
we can look to check that higher time frame as well. If we have both those confirmed, then we're kind of thinking about our execution and what levels could we execute this trade on. So it is a really interesting thing to do, but wanted to make sure we're clearly talking about the process because really what RSI is giving us is a setup. It's giving us a trading setup, and we can make a bunch of different trades. And traders on the desk will make different trades off of this exact same setup. But we really do want to make sure that we're talking about it the right way. We're not looking at this in isolation and saying RSI, boom, press the keys.
RSI. Yeah, there were a couple people on my old trading floor that we called the RSI boys because anytime RSI would go up or go down, they would just use that as a trade.
That's such an important.
And let me tell you, they're not trading anymore.
That's so key. And as Brian Shannon would say, like it's an area of interest. He says that all the time. It's an area of interest, right? It's getting our attention. It doesn't mean we're going to get short or long. It just means, okay, you know what? Like this thing is starting to set up. Let's zoom in. Let's see what the tape looks. Let's get our trigger ready. So perfect. So we have EJH, overextension to the downside. It's like the mirror image of the last trade. And I think this was a liquidation or something, which is just quite insane. But yeah, we're getting the oversold signal on the RSI 1 minute. So we're going to check the 5.
Okay.
And we're getting it there as well. So we've got this thing setting up. And so what do we do?
15.
We look for the break of that candle.
Never mind.
Right? And when something's like this extended, I mean, this was also halting. So, you know, you wouldn't really be trading this unless you probably trade halts, but it can be used on plays like this. So we break that prior candle, and that would get me in with a stop against the low in this case, because that's the previous candle and the low. And again, we're going to target VWAP and the 0 line on the RSI.
So this is for the long side instead.
The same bar there.
So this is the most common way traders on our desk will use RSI. Anybody that has RSI on their charts that understands it, this is the most common way that people use it with. The overbought, oversold, typically it's 80 and 20, not 70 and 30, which is the standard.
Okay.
What are some other ways? Because when I walk by your trading desk and we talk about ideas, you're not talking about it typically in overbought, oversold terms. How do you use RSI?
So I mean, this is my favorite way to use it. So this indicator was originally developed not to measure overextended conditions.
Okay. What was it made for?
To measure relative strength.
Right.
It's the relative strength.
Relative
index.
strength index.
So it's really
Got
measuring
you.
strength.
Got
So what I
that.
like to do is use the RSI to screen for relative strength. So
Got
I
you.
set up a market view that includes RSI in a column in the market view, and I
Okay.
sort by RSI.
So
Okay.
and
Super
market
simple.
view is just that's
Scanner.
a filtering tool that we have on the desk.
Yeah,
So it would be the same as building a scan
Yeah,
in
it's a
any sort
scanner.
of trading platform.
yeah, absolutely. And
Okay.
so this is a Thinkorswim market view right here.
Okay.
Anyone can do that. You know, I'm sure other platforms have these. We have it on the desk. But you can see, super simple. I'm taking the NASDAQ 100, and I have an RSI column in the middle there. And then I just click on that to sort by RSI so that the
Okay.
highest RSI readings are at the top. So this is going to sort by relative strength. So we're sorting the NASDAQ 100 by relative strength.
Mhm.
And what I'll do is I'll just hook this up to my chart and I'll just blow through charts. And for me, this is a way to just quickly see, especially when we've had a move like this in the market. Like
See
I
what
want to see
stock
the
is
stocks
strong,
that
what
actually
stock is not,
acted
what
the best
stock is
on this
strong,
rally.
see what stock
Because
is
a lot of
not
the times
strong,
when
and then use
the
that
market
to
starts
help you
pull
find
back,
a
like, these are the
trade
ones
and
to
whatnot.
buy,
I get it.
especially if they're holding up really well.
Smart.
And so, you know, there's a pullback trade that kind of comes from this, but this is how I prepare for it. I'll get my group of relative strength stocks. And so I'll just use this to blow through charts. And so we can kind of actually do this as an example because I put some charts in here. I just put the top 8 and we can just blow through them really quickly. And what I'm going to do is like, you know, I'm going to combine this with like other trading strategies to get long or short
Right.
on the pullbacks. But this is just my way to get the list. Okay,
When
so
you're using this list
just a
to
scanning tool
identify
for
the
him.
setups that you might want to trade.
It's not a
Yeah.
tool that he uses to
If
get
you- I mean,
into
if you're
trades.
looking for strong stocks,
Even
this
though
is
that's
just a
what they
great way
talked
to do it.
about
As
just
we go
now,
through these charts,
they
you'll
use
see
it, or at least
that
he
they all
uses it
have
as a
similar
tool
moves over
to
the last,
find
like,
stocks
10,
that are relatively
20 days.
strong. So
And
that
they're all
way,
pretty
when the
much
market
straight up
is
super
strong and the
strong.
market
And it's
pulls
kinda
back,
funny
he
'cause as
can
we go
use the
through it,
stocks on the top of
you'll
that
notice that,
list
like, I
to
think
buy the
5
dips
out
and
of,
get
like,
long,
8
and
were
that way have a
semiconductors.
better
So,
chance
like,
of having
that's kinda interesting to me
a
too,
break
because
of
that's
high
kinda
a
telling
day
me
instead of
something about the
what most
market,
people do, which is trade
stuff
your
like that.
Microsofts,
So
your
it's just a
Teslas,
nice,
your
it's just a nice tool
Nvidias.
to, you know,
They're
at the
not
end of
really
the day,
having that relative
you know,
strength
just go
on them
through,
that
find
day.
strong
The
stocks.
market
And
might
these
not be
little
having the
weak
relative
ones too,
strength
just
on it that day,
flip it
and that's why you get
and
chopped
look at
up
the
along with the market.
RSI.
Whereas the ones with the relative
So
strength
we've
just
covered
keep
two
on ripping
really
up.
good uses of RSI.
So he uses that as a
RSI
scanner
specific to what we're
instead of a
doing here.
trading
But
tool.
there's
I
one
like that.
other,
Makes sense.
and I actually didn't know about this, so I'm excited for you to share it with us because
Ooh.
when we were prepping for this kind of this video that we're putting together and the uses of RSI, this one snuck up on me. And
Okay.
when
I'm
you said it, it
interested.
just like it made sense
Click.
to me, but I've never looked to do this before. So
Okay,
what's
give me the
this hidden
secrets.
secret of yours that
Give
we
me the
can all learn from?
secrets.
I don't know how hidden it is, but yeah, so you can use the RSI to buy pullbacks. And when I started looking at the
Right.
RSI, I started to notice on really strong stocks with really strong trends, the RSI would just live between 50 and 80. Right?
Okay.
It would get overbought and then it would pull
Oh, okay.
back,
Got you.
go to 50, right the midline, and then
Midline,
come back, and it would
come
just
back.
bounce around in that upper.
I'm
quadrant. And
understanding
so,
what you're going. I'm
you know, would
kind
work on
of
the
getting
downside
your
too.
drift over
And
here.
so you could kind of gauge the RSI for those places where the pullback might be ready to buy.
Mhm.
Okay, like these, they don't go all the way back.
And then
to
you
20.
use the same
They'll usually
idea.
stay
You
in
wait
that
to see
upper
if it come to 50,
Okay,
and if
so
the stock is
just
getting
based
ready
on
to
that
create
here,
somewhat
and
of a
again,
bottom, and you
this
have
is
a
similar
clear
to that
defined
overbought
bottom, right side of the
oversold
V.
thing.
Oops,
So
sorry,
this
right
is
side of
just
the
sort of a
V, and then
tool
you
to
catch
give us
that
a
move
heads
back up. I
about
like
that.
But
that.
there's a specific use that I'm observing
I
here,
like
and it's
that.
only when something is
I'm
trending
learning something
that you
here.
can use that.
Only when
midpoint
it's
cuff.
trending.
Yes, that's one of the key criteria.
Oh, he's giving
in
away
this.
all of his
Okay,
secrets,
you
and he
wanna
doesn't
be-
like it. He doesn't like
You want to
it.
be with
You're
trend.
not going to use it when it's chopping around. That's not going to mean
Not at
anything.
all.
But when it's trending, you can look for that reversion back to that midline
Yes.
Okay.
as a potential confirmation of the trade.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely. And
like it.
so remember that hourly chart of the Qs that we mentioned earlier? There were 2 setups on the chart. So here's that chart again. And I'm just kind of pointing out both of these setups. And what we're looking for here, it's kind of a 5-step process. Okay. So 1, overbought or oversold. Okay. Or close to it. Right. So you can see like before that red circle, market came down and the RSI reached just about 20. Okay, so we want to see that before this because that's showing that the stock is very weak. And then we want to see that weak bounce. We want to see the RSI return to 50, return to that midline and hold.
So it looks like the variables for this specific setup are, first, we need something to get to that extreme that in, if we're talking about the short, we want to see it get oversold first. And again, we're talking about the retracement short, so that midline. So first step is we want to see it pretty much get to oversold. What's it going to do on the higher time frame?
So on the higher time frame, you just want to make sure that it's not oversold.
Okay, so we're actually flipping the script on what we did before, where we said we are looking for it to get oversold on multiple time frames. In this case, we're actually looking for it to not be oversold on multiple time frames.
Because we're looking to catch
if it's
the
oversold
dips,
on the shorter time frame, that's okay.
Right?
But if it's oversold on both, we're eliminating this midline retracement trade.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the cues turn into an uptrend, and we get a long setup. Okay, and this one is actually much more clear, much more powerful, in my opinion, because you get the overbought signal, and then you get the reversion back to the midline very cleanly. Okay, so and then
I want to do a quick test over here, real quick. See how the QQQs did today on the RSI indicator basis. We'll fix this bad boy up real quick. Settings, inputs, style, 80, 20. Turn that off, turn it off, turn off. Leave that. Turn that off. Okay, good. So, if on the 5 minute we were sold off, right? Oversold on the 5 minute. What about the 15 minute? Oversold on the 15 minute. How about the 30 minute? Oversold on the 30 minute. How about the 60 minute? Oversold, not oversold on the 60 minute. Oh, okay. But oversold on most time scales so far that we just checked from 5 to 60. And if you were to look for a long, you basically would wait right here, get the long after the 2-bar break, something like this. Something like that 2-bar, or something like these 2 bars breaking. You get long right there. Your risk is low a day. About 50 cents to $1 risk, and your reward is back to VWAP. But as you can see, the trend, like they were just talking about, the trend continued because it hit the midpoint and it sold off one more time back to the downside for the market. But this time, it wasn't really that oversold, and the trend just kept getting continued after hitting the midpoint. So kind of makes sense on what they were just saying on that quick little test over here that we just did. Continue with the video.
The prior candle high, just like we were doing before, and we want to see the RSI in a long setup, for instance, get back above 50. Right, it's very, very similar to the setup that we outlined earlier. And then we can buy with a stop against the pullback low, trail a stop. So here's a 1 minute chart of the Qs during the recent bull run. So this is a 1 day trade here. One of those days over the past few weeks when the Qs have been really strong. The internals were really strong on this day. I mean, there were a lot of things kind of pointing to strength. So this is the kind of environment where you might be looking to trade this setup. So
mid
this doesn't always work.
Long.
So you want to make sure you're with trend, like Jeff said. You want to combine it with price levels, combine it with market internals, and this can be done on the daily charts. Can be done to scalps intraday, right? So as you can see on this chart, we kind of did it. We did it twice, right? So in the morning, it gets overbought very cleanly, comes back, holds the 50, reclaims, right? And then you can use an ATR trailing stop, like in this case, to just stay in the trade. And, it happened one more time. So like any indicator, always remind yourself of what it's measuring. And remember, it's just math. Like, it's not magic. This is literally just math. And it's just helping us quantify these things so that we can either see them clearer, get a heads up like an alert, put them into a model. Very, very simple.
And one of the ways I've seen you use this is
Well
when
put.
you're looking at like
Just
zero
math,
DTE
ladies and gentlemen.
options.
Just
You're looking
numbers.
for this exact setup, this third setup, as a potential for a trigger for zero DTE options. And I know we did a video on zero DTE options and kind of some of the other factors that you look for in order to make a trade, a directional trade using zero DTE options. So, maybe if you have more questions about this, we also covered the trailing ATR in that video, so you can go check that out as well.
Yeah, we can put that in the link in the description.
Awesome.
All right, thanks.
So you're an active trader, not doing as well as you want.
That was it, ladies and gentlemen. Once
deserve.
again, just gonna stop the video over there and give that spiel real quick. They have a class, they have an online program where they educate people. It's for free. If you haven't checked out SMB Capital yet, go check them out. I literally call them the Trading Bible on YouTube. It's the best content out there. I learned a lot of new things watching this video today. Hopefully you did too. And my goodness, I think I can't wait to incorporate some of the stuff that I learned from this video today into my trading going forward. And just keep on elevating by 1%. That's all it takes. Keep elevating by 1%. In yesterday's videos that we were looking at, Lance talks about, creating a routine and falling in love with that routine. Maybe that routine involves something as simple as logging your trades and then kind of looking at your trades, and then creating a watch list, maybe even reading a book, a couple pages of a book to expand your trading a little bit, or watching a video like I am. This whole stream is basically my routine. The stream is my whole routine, and I'm basically putting out my whole routine on blast for millions of people on the world, even though it's not a million people watching me, but millions of people on the world, to kind of get an idea of what professional traders, professional day traders working at an actual working office environment, what did they do? And at least the ones who want to succeed, what did they do going out every single day, and what type of work they're putting in. So hopefully you guys are learning something from this, and watching this video together. We learned a lot today. So that will be all for tonight. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen,